welcome back to the show. I hope you're having a good week, and I really hope that you are enjoying this podcast. We have some great episodes coming up this year, as well as some really incredible guests. But before I dive into today's topic, can you please do me a favor? Pause this episode and go leave a 5-star rating and review on Apple or Spotify, wherever you prefer to listen. And if you're watching this on YouTube, please give me a like, comment below the video, and subscribe to my channel. This really helps my show to get seen by more women so that they can get the education that they need to transform their health and feel their best in perimenopause and beyond. Next, if you missed my free masterclass that I taught last week, you're not crazy. It's perimenopause. Make sure that you watch the replay. I'm going to drop the link in the show notes for that. All right. Today, I want to cover some effective natural solutions for perimenopause symptoms that I have seen truly move the needle with clients. But I want to get some things off my chest because I have been in this industry for over 12 years, if you can believe it. And boy, has it changed. The amount of wellness practitioners and influencers has grown exponentially. And while it is a good thing that more people are educating on preventative health, perimenopause, there's also a lot of conflicting information, false promises, and some pretty gnarly claims. And I'm sure you're feeling this because I am. Every time I go on social media, I feel like somebody's talking about perimenopause and there is some ad that's being promoted to women. And to be incredibly honest, I get pretty annoyed by a lot of these gimmicks, supplements, and quick fixes that are marketed to women in this stage of life. It often feels like they're preying on women's struggles. And that doesn't feel good to me. I don't want to be part of that noise or make anyone think that one diet, one supplement, or other health trend is going to solve all your problems, because that is just not reality. That is not how health works. Okay. Health is pretty complex, and I do my best here to simplify it. But as you're learning, there's a lot of moving parts, right? So let's talk about some things that I see a lot of people talking about that you may be getting distracted by or thinking that it's going to really help you. And while some of these things are not necessarily bad, some just may not be for you, and some may do some harm. So a couple things that come to mind are fasting, seed cycling, parasite cleanses, water fasts, cold plunging, red light therapy, elimination diets, collagen, creatine, and even testing like hormone testing, food sensitivity testing, or genetic testing. Now, I'm not going to address every single one of these because this would be a really long episode, but I want to go into a few different ones, especially things that I see women either trying or asking me about, especially our clients. So fasting is one of them. Okay. Fasting is all the rage. There's a lot of programs and people out there who are talking about fasting, and it can be beneficial. I do believe, and I've said this many times in the past, that we should practice some sort of fasting overnight, where we're giving our body, our digestive system, a break from working, right? Digesting that food. But what I see over and over again is women, usually in the name of weight loss, doing it incorrectly. And what happens is they end up in a major caloric deficit. So they're under eating, they're not adequately nourishing their bodies, and they end up with a lot of nutrient imbalances, as well as blood sugar dysregulation, which is a major stress on the body. And then there's something like parasite cleanses. Again, they may have merit, but not everyone needs to be doing a parasite cleanse, and not everyone's body is ready to do an intense cleanse like that. And if you're not prepared, you can end up feeling worse instead of better. Another one is strict elimination diets. I know that there's some practitioners that are still doing this, and that's fine. I'm not judging how other people do things, but when you're removing a ton of foods, that's going to cause you to feel overwhelmed, stressed out, and like you can't enjoy your life. No, thank you. I love food. I'm sure you love food, and you're sick and tired of dieting, right? Like, we did enough of that in our 20s and 30s. I sure as hell don't want to be doing that in my 40s. I want to be able to enjoy food with some tweaks here and there without feeling restricted. So listen, there are some foods, of course, that may be problematic for you, but I assure you it is much less than you think or what you've been led to believe. And of course, quality does matter. Lastly, something else I see over and over again, probably because I keep getting ads for this, and I'm going to dig in a little more, maybe in another episode, is collagen. So, oh my gosh, everybody and their mother, I feel like, tells you to take collagen. And I'm not opposed to it. I've used it myself on and off for years. We have clients who use it, but not all brands are created equal. It's not the panacea that it seems to be. And if you're somebody who has some histamine issues or intolerance, which is very likely in perimenopause. It's actually quite common because of the fluctuation in estrogen. Estrogen and histamine have a connection. Go back and listen to my histamine episode if you're like, what are you talking about? I dig into it there. But if you're using collagen or things that are higher in histamine, that can actually make your symptoms worse. So just because one of your favorite influencers or somebody online says that something is good or they're pushing it or they're selling it, does not mean that it's going to benefit you or work for you. So just use caution with a lot of this stuff that's out there, especially things that almost seem too good to be true. Because, like I said, health is complex. It's not as simplistic as some of these people make it. And it's why I do what I do, right? I try to simplify things for you. All right. All that said, please know that there's so much that I can share in a podcast. I don't know you, right? As an individual, I don't know your health history, your symptoms, your lifestyle, your specific imbalances. And that's why I work with women in a coaching relationship to get to know you, to utilize advanced testing and provide ongoing support to ensure that you're on the right track. We focus on what you need based on what we learn about you versus guessing and just like throwing money away, to be honest, right? A lot of women are buying all these things and trying all this stuff without really knowing what their body needs, and you end up wasting time and money. And of course, you're frustrated in the process. All right. So if you're in your 40s, 50s, or you're approaching your 40s, chances are that you have started to feel a shift in your body. It's why you're here, right? You may be dealing with mood swings, sleep disturbances, hot flashes, brain fog, low motivation, anxiety, weight gain, and you may be looking for some ways to ease your symptoms naturally. So today, I want to dig into some of the holistic approaches that I take with women and have been for years, but in our program, the Perimenopause Method. And that's going to include things like diet, movement, mineral balancing, gut optimization, and more. So they're not exactly sexy things. I'm not going to sit here and tell you to go buy some, I don't know, biohacking tool. There's plenty of people doing that on Instagram. I'm going to give you like the lowdown on the stuff that truly does move the needle and what I have seen work, like I said, for now I've been in this world, in this industry for 12 years, working with hundreds of clients. And yeah, it's not really the sexy stuff, but these are the things that not only are going to make you feel good in regards to symptom improvement, but they're going to help you age well. Plus, I'm going to talk briefly about bioidentical hormone replacement therapy, or BHRT, which does fit into the natural remedy conversation, in my opinion. All right, so there are many effective ways to manage your symptoms, and they all start with your foundation. You will probably hear me say this, and if you work with us in the perimenopause method or in some capacity, you're going to hear me talk about health foundations, things like your diet, movement, your overall lifestyle. And that includes, your habits, your mindset, some of your behaviors. All of these things make up your health foundation. And you really do need to start to make some changes to start to see symptom relief. All right. So the first place to start is with your diet. What you eat can directly impact how you feel. In perimenopause, your body may become more sensitive to certain things like a lot of sugars or high carb diets, caffeine, processed foods, and even alcohol. I am sure you have felt a difference in how your body response to alcohol in your 40s versus how it did in your 20s and even 30s. I know I sure did. So by focusing on nutrient dense, anti-inflammatory foods, you can support your hormones and your overall health. And this is going to include things like healthy fats, lean proteins, fiber-rich vegetables, and additionally, you may want to increase your intake of phytoestrogens. I've talked about that in previous episodes, and those essentially are plant-based compounds that are found in foods like flax seeds, soy, you want quality soy products, and legumes, and those can support hormones as well. All right, the next thing is movement. Movement is another pillar of your health in perimenopause. It's super important. Regular physical activity, especially strength training and cardiovascular exercises, are going to help to regulate blood sugar. They're going to support weight management and, of course, reduce stress, besides other benefits. Now, these activities can help improve sleep. And as you know, many women in perimenopause struggle with sleep, right? So we want to do anything that we can on a day-to-day basis to improve that, because when you're not sleeping, it's the worst, right? I mean, I get it. I've been there. I went through a period of time where I was not sleeping, and it sucked. That is the best way to describe it. And then another form of movement that you may want to consider, if you don't already, is yoga. A lot of women love yoga. They say it's really relaxing, and it totally is. Your nervous system, your stress in this stage of life, like, you do need to prioritize calming your nervous system and relieving stress in however way you can. So yoga is another way to do that. So again, strength training, some sort of cardiovascular exercises, and something like yoga can be really nice for you in perimenopause. All right, then there is mineral balancing. I know it is so not sexy for me to sit here and talk about minerals. That's why I don't often, but I have another episode coming out about them that I do hope you listen to, because minerals are like spark plugs, right? They're kind of like hormones in our body. They're so important and they're needed for so many functions in the body, but they're so overlooked because, yeah, it's not sexy. Be like, hey, let's talk about mineral testing. Like, everyone wants to hear about hormone testing or, I don't know, stool testing, right? But mineral testing is something that we utilize. It's actually a very affordable test and it gives us so much insight. So, anyway, mineral levels are going to fluctuate during perimenopause, and this is going to affect everything from your mood, your energy, and all the way to your sleep quality. So supporting mineral balance with foods that are rich in magnesium, calcium, sodium, and potassium can make a huge difference. Unfortunately, food isn't always enough. It's actually rarely enough, even for those of us who are doing all the right things. We know what to do. It's just because, a lot of us are under stress. Our gut changes, so we're not absorbing nutrients as well in this stage of life. Medication use over time can create some deficiencies. And then just the fact that our soil is depleted, and we're not all perfect. We're not eating a perfect diet, right? You got to live life. So this is something that we focus on a lot in the perimenopause method, where we help women really pinpoint their individual mineral needs through HTMA, which is hair tissue mineral analysis that I mentioned earlier. And it gives us, again, so much insight into how minerals are impacting your health, your symptoms, your blood sugar, stress response, thyroid function, and more. So definitely make sure you check out the perimenopause method, because that is the main test that we use to help our clients. And it really has made such a difference for so many wonderful women that we get to work with. All right. The other thing is gut optimization. So a healthy gut, as I'm sure you know, if you have done some homework, if you've been listening to me, if you have been doing your own research, you know that a healthy gut is crucial in perimenopause. And like I said, it is starting to shift. I've talked about this in the past. Because our hormones are changing, our microbiome balance is changing. So a lot of women experience GI issues like bloating, constipation, loose stool, really stinky gas, right? Super embarrassing. Or you may have like upper GI issues like acid reflux, burping, also really gross, right? Like, nobody wants to be dealing with this. Your gut impacts everything from hormone metabolism to your immune function. And if you're noticing your allergies are getting worse, you're getting sick more often, your gut plays a role. And of course, your hormones, right? They work together. So in the perimenopause method, we focus a lot on gut health by optimizing your digestion, reducing inflammation, and supporting beneficial bacteria in the gut. And this is often where we do bring in advanced testing like a stool test. And we use different stool tests. We are skilled in reading different types. And no test is perfect, but they do give us a lot of data on you and help us to get just a deeper look at your gut health, so that we can really personalize your recommendations, because we really don't like to just guess. We do like to utilize testing when possible, in addition to all the food and lifestyle changes and recommendations that we make. And just so you know, I know sometimes women probably hear me saying like, all the food and lifestyle changes, as if it's like this huge lifestyle overhaul. It doesn't necessarily need to be. There are actually some like pretty basic things that we teach our clients, and help them be consistent with that really do move the needle. And it's not as hard as you think. And it's not a matter of giving things up or not enjoying your life. Like I said, I like to have fun. I like to indulge. I like to go out to dinner. I just went out this weekend with a friend. I had some sweet treats yesterday. I want to enjoy my life. And me and my teammate, Tanya, really are walking examples of thriving in perimenopause while still being able to indulge and enjoy our life without like these restrictive diets or working out really hard or doing all of these things that I mentioned earlier that can sometimes cause more harm than good. All right, moving along to nervous system support. Oh my gosh, stress is a huge player in perimenopause. As you know, it can exacerbate your symptoms. And because of the fluctuation in hormones, stress, you become more stress reactive. So it's kind of like a vicious cycle, if you will. So your nervous system can become very easily dysregulated in this stage of life. So you may feel this if you're often overwhelmed. You're anxious, you're irritable, maybe you feel tired but wired, you can't fall asleep at night, and you're obviously not sleeping well, right? So you're waking up in the morning fatigued, you're annoyed, you're just like kind of a monster, right? You're snapping at people that you love. That is no place to be. I know because I've been there. But I want to assure you that you don't have to stay there and you can make some changes to really feel your best and thrive. So there are some adaptogens like maca, ashwagandha, or rhodiola, and they can be helpful, but true nervous system support comes from better managing your stress, getting enough rest, like real rest, not laying down and scrolling your phone, guilty as charged, and creating better boundaries in your life. And I know a lot of women struggle with this because women like to give, right? We're nurturers. We like to help others. But oftentimes we are getting involved in things that are not ours to get involved in. And we are actually enabling some other people's behaviors. We are not here to fix others. We are here to support them, but we need to support ourselves so that we can do a better job of supporting people around us. I want to just like drill this into you that boundaries can be so incredibly helpful, not only for you, but for others around you. And they do not have to be super firm. You don't have to be nasty. You can do it in a really loving way. The other thing is working on your mindset. If you're somebody who is constantly thinking negatively, if you are worrying, if you feel like, I don't know, you're just like worst case scenario all the time, what do you think that's doing to your body? It's all connected, my friends. So we focus a lot on nervous system techniques in the perimenopause method to help you feel more calm, at ease, and have a more balanced mood, which, as you know, is hard to come by in our perimenopause years with these crazy hormone fluctuations. All right, the next thing I want to talk about is blood sugar regulation. So those fluctuations in blood sugar can contribute to irritability, fatigue, and cravings. A lot of women come to us and they are just like angry. They are irritable. They are snapping at their kids, their husband, their colleagues, their friends, and they don't want to be doing that. They're exhausted. And what happens is they end up binge eating or they're just like stuffing their face with like sugar, sweets, salty, like chips, things like that. And they're like, why am I binge eating? So much of that has to do with blood sugar dysregulation. So we really do a deep dive into that and look at what you're eating, when you're eating, if you're fasting, if you're not fasting, to really help you understand how to better support your body. And sometimes it's only like a couple little tweaks, but you just don't know that, right? You don't know sometimes. You need somebody else to kind of get a general overview of your day to day and give you a really clear path to take. So we help women stabilize their blood sugar levels by focusing on whole, unprocessed foods as much as possible and creating balanced meals throughout the day. So we do have a focus on optimizing your macronutrients to support your changing body, but we're not obsessive about it. We don't expect you to like show us your food log or anything like that, unless you want to. We're there to support you. But it's not about obsessively tracking, being super strict. Again, it's just making certain tweaks so that you can see an improvement in your symptoms and just start to feel better. All right. And then lastly, circadian rhythm. So this is your body's internal clock. I've talked about this on previous episodes when we covered sleep, for example. So, your body's internal clock is more important than ever in perimenopause because, again, your hormones are shifting and you want to take control of as much as you can, because some things are just out of our control, right? We can't necessarily control the fact that we're losing progesterone or that estrogen is fluctuating. Our ovaries are going to do what they want to do, but we can support some of these other hormones like cortisol, like melatonin, by our lifestyle, by the things that we put into place. So, supporting your circadian rhythm with regular sleep wake cycles, limiting blue light exposure, especially at night, and getting plenty of natural light during the day really is going to help improve that balance. And of course, in turn, your sleep quality and your overall your health, right? Especially your mood. And again, that's something that so many women struggle with. Hopefully you listened to my recent episode about depression in perimenopause. I really kind of dove deep into the different reasons for it and some action steps that you can take. All right, so I want to come back around to bioidentical hormone replacement therapy. Now that I just listed out all of the common natural solutions or remedies, and this is where things get a little tricky because most people think of natural remedies as herbs, supplements, or the things that I just shared, right? Diet changes, lifestyle changes, mindset shifts, and all those things are vital in this stage of life. That's why I talk about them over and over again. And there's such an emphasis on that in the work that I do in our program, the Perimenopause Method. And these things can all be helpful. They really can be. And, things like herbs and supplements, we use them strategically in our approach with clients. But bioidentical hormone replacement therapy, or BHRT, should also be considered as a natural remedy. And the reason for that is BHRT uses hormones that are chemically identical to the ones that your body naturally produces. So, unlike synthetic hormones, which are foreign to the body, bioidentical hormones mimic your body's own hormones. So that makes them a natural and effective way to restore balance, so to speak. And studies do show that BHRT can not only help reduce these common perimenopause symptoms that we're all dealing with, but they also reduce risk of chronic diseases that can happen later on, like heart disease, osteoporosis, diabetes, and even certain cancers. And maybe you're not even thinking of those things and you're like, Claudia, that is too much for me. I'm only in my 40s. I'm not even thinking about heart disease or osteoporosis. I get it. I know you don't want to think about that stuff, but this is the time to start thinking about it, right? Just like keep it in the back of your mind. How do you want to set yourself up for healthy aging? Because time flies, right? And even though we may not get diagnosed with those things until later on, that stuff is starting behind the scenes, okay? It doesn't just happen overnight, all right? And BHRT, of course, can improve longevity and quality of life later on. Think of your grandparents. I know I think of mine and what their quality of life was like without hormones. Yes, they may have lived a long time, like my grandmother who passed away last year, but I wouldn't say that she had a really great quality of life. Okay, she had a lot going on and really suffered at the end, and that is really sad to me. So obviously, I'm doing my best to make sure that I age well, and I want that for you. That's why I do what I do, right? And I get on my soapbox. All right. So in the perimenopause method, we discuss all the options that I just shared, including BHRT or hormone replacement therapy, so that you know all the different options that you have. You are educated, you're informed, and then you can make your own personal decisions. We're looking at each woman's unique situation, and that's going to help determine what is the right path for you. And then, of course, you make your own choices, right? All right. So it is really important to understand that perimenopause is not just a transition phase. It really is a crucial time, like I said earlier, in your life to prioritize your health, because the choices that you make now are going to impact how you age. And this is especially true for us ladies in our 40s, when many of us are starting to feel the shifts in our bodies. Even if you don't necessarily feel the symptoms, know that your hormones are changing, okay? Whether we like it or not, it's happening. So if we don't take action, if we don't start to address the root causes of the symptoms, then we're not setting ourselves up for success. And that is why it is really important to get support, and so that you can reduce your risk and feel good long term. I know I want to feel good as long as humanly possible. All right, so if you want to navigate perimenopause with confidence and clarity, the Perimenopause Method might be exactly what you need. This really is a transformative coaching program that provides personalized support, advanced testing, and ongoing compassionate coaching because we have been where you are. And we really don't want you to ever feel alone in your journey. So we dive deep into mineral balancing, blood sugar regulation, nervous system support, gut health, sleep optimization, and more so that you really could feel your best. So I hope this episode gave you some valuable insights into how natural remedies, whether through diet, movement, stress management, or even bioidentical hormone replacement therapy, can help you thrive in perimenopause. And remember, it's not just about managing symptoms. It's about taking control of your health so that you can live a longer, healthier life. And if you're ready to dive deeper and get personalized support, learn more about the Perimenopause Method via the link that's in the show notes. You do not have to go through this alone. We are here to support you. So thanks so much for tuning in to Perimenopause Simplified. Don't forget to subscribe, share this episode with your friends, and leave a rating and review. And I will see you soon. Hey, before you go, if you're resonating with this podcast and realize that your symptoms are anything but normal, my comprehensive program, the Perimenopause Method, may be a great fit for you. My team and I help women in their mid-30s to early 50s improve symptoms such as fatigue, disrupted sleep, anxiety, erratic moods, bloating, and much more. We do this by utilizing advanced testing, a personalized plan tailored to you, women's health and hormones education, and ongoing support so you never feel alone and you get results. If you're ready to commit to your health and feel like yourself again, but even better, check out the link in the show notes to learn more about the Perimenopause Method. The information provided is for educational and informational purposes only. I am not, nor do I act as a doctor or any other medical professional. I am not providing healthcare, medical services, or attempting to diagnose, treat, prevent, or cure any physical, mental, or emotional disease or condition. The information shared is not intended to be a substitute for the professional medical advice provided by your own medical or mental health provider.